I've been so removed from this, working with all the AI stuff and the quantum and all that. Brady and Connie are actually ahead of me at this point in what's all going on with the updates and all that, and working with Daniel. So I am best off just to kind of step out of the way onto the sidelines here and just watch Brady and Connie do their thing.
Give me 2 seconds because our tech guy is having a hard time getting in. So give me a second on making sure he is in here.
That's when we know we're in trouble, when the tech guy's having trouble with the tech.
That's funny.
Very exciting stuff. I'm actually sitting in on the AI Bot Summit in Orlando this morning as well. And just so much stuff going on in technology and AI and changing the landscape. And there's some exciting stuff on the horizon. You guys are involved in the acquisition here, which is pretty exciting in itself, but there's even more stuff coming. So definitely stay in the conversation.
All right, I'm forwarding this link to Daniel, and we should be good.
You got it under control?
I think so.
All right.
We
Awesome.
should.
I know you will. You handle it all.
All right. No, we're ready to
You and
go. We're
Connie are
gonna.
superstars.
If my a little bit slow, I apologize. Just follow along. If you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat. We will have some time at the end for any questions, but I do want to get through this. We called this kind of the state of acquisition era, kind of going along with the state of the for 2025. But really, all this is, guys, is 24 was beta launch. Into 23 all the way through 24 was beta launch for us, and we've learned a lot as a team ourselves, myself and Connie and John and Daniel and the tech team, and we learned things even that we had no idea that this software would be used for that people have found. So we've taken kind of like a conglomerate of 2024 and packaged it into several slides here. We'll rock and roll with that. And then on the back end, a lot of people have kind of asked for some type of a pitch deck, reveal deck, whatever your sales term is regarding sitting down in front of a client. What I put together is not perfect. I might even tweak it a little bit. I kind of threw it together, but I also did take a little bit of time to put it together as far as if I was sitting in front of a client, how short and sweet it would be. I wouldn't get it and ask them to want to become a customer, but also along those lines, we'll get into some of the things that we believe if you're going to become a client of Acquisition or you're actually acquiring clients through Acquisition software, that you'll want to make sure you talk to your clients or I should say your prospects about before they become a client, just to make sure it's a good fit. And we'll get into all that stuff. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Let me load some more people in. Sorry. For some reason, it won't let me make Connie a co-host. So it's all good. We'll just keep hitting the admit button. All right, Connie, I'm going to ask you if you can see this when I share. We good to go on that?
I can see, yeah, you're good.
Awesome. Let me hit the slideshow button. And if you're not seeing this on the main screen, make sure you adjust it to speaker view, which is myself. Let me load this real quick, Connie, and then let me know you can see it. Cool. It's on my end. Can you see that, Connie?
Yes, you're good to go.
Awesome. Again, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We can go through that. But again, we'll do some stuff at the end. We may not have a hard stop at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific, but we're trying to stick it to an hour. I know you guys are busy. But again, we're just going to go through kind of a reflection of 2024 and what we learned as a software team and some things that you guys taught us, as well as looking into 2025, what you guys can be aware of, as well as if you're successful using our software just based on people that have used it, here's what we believe you need to be equipped for before you really take this to the level. There's going to be some things that if you've been a customer for probably more than a couple months, maybe 3 months, you've probably heard some of this before, but we want to reiterate some of the things that we've said from the beginning, but also squash some of the things that we maybe said in the early stages of beta launch that maybe not weren't true, but they may not just be as advantageous as other ideas or strategies currently. So we'll rock and roll. And I got to use my mouse here. Here we go. All right, let's do this. So this is kind of the 5 areas that we as a team just kind of drew out on paper and talked about that we believe, again, are kind of those reflections. So if you're going to use Acquisition as a client of ours, and you're going to go out and either use this as a service for your business, specifically just your business, or you're going to go out and acquire clients of your own, we need to make sure we're qualifying prospects. You need to know really who Acquisition is for. We've said transparently that from the beginning, back in 23, early 24, we would have told you this was for anybody and everybody. Hey, it's kind of a lead generation. It's an audience building software that allows you to fill the top of funnel. Who wouldn't want that? But we've realized that there's some things that limit some people from really utilizing the software if they don't have the systems and things in place. We'll get into that. Understanding the customer buying journey with building kind of that Acquisition audience using our software. The third one is obviously this is not just, this is not the end all be all, the only marketing tool you need. We've said that from the beginning, but this is just another arrow in your marketing quiver. And then talking about the onboarding again, the qualifying is totally different from the onboarding your clients. This is when your clients are a client, your prospects are now a client, and then you're onboarding them to make sure that they understand the software and stuff. And then obviously we've talked about this a little bit over the last several months through some different emails and things. If you've had a conversation with myself, a lot of people have called me, and we've had some great conversations with people. We've noticed that from the beginning, we thought this might have just been a really good cold email. And that was really the extent of it, to be honest. We know a lot of people that's one of their largest strategies. And we found out that having more of an omnipresent marketing strategy is going to be very much so advantageous. And we'll get into that as to why here in a minute. And again, I apologize because I'm still letting people in. So we'll get it figured out one of these days, Connie. I'll be sharp some one of these days. At the top, he says before bringing on a new client, qualify them with an exclamation point. Now, when I say qualify, that doesn't mean that as a business owner, keep them away from Acquisition. Obviously, the more clients you have, the greater revenue you have a chance of creating. But who is Acquisition for? Again, when we first started, we would have told you anybody and everybody that needs leads. And quite honestly, that's false. It's really for advanced marketers, agencies, somebody that has more of a proven ability to convert paid traffic. So you must have converted paid traffic, not organic traffic, not just you got in this, marketing arena and you're ready to get some leads, or an audience of people that might have been searching for or reading about things that you would hope they were reading about or searching for online. Somebody that understands a long-term strategy, right? Somebody that understands filling the top of funnel to where that's your audience, that's your list, your contacts, and through that you're going to find which ones are actually the leads. That's the way that I see it. That's the way that I see our software for a very inexpensive cost of 45 cents, per lead for Search AI, and then Site AI at 25 cents to know who's actually coming to your website without any clicks or form fills, all that stuff. That's where you're going to be able to build a large audience, right? And then find through that audience, now qualify them, as a client, but then also qualify them for actually the lead that's actually coming through. So potential qualifying questions for your prospects. If I'm sitting down with somebody and they're really excited about what you've shared with them, towards the back end, again, I'm going to share kind of what we would do as kind of a review or a pitch deck or whatever you might call it to see if somebody might be a good fit or this would be a good fit for their marketing strategy. Here's some questions that I'm going to make sure that we're on the same page with, because we've found, again, through our beta launch, that we've had some folks that probably didn't check all of these boxes. These questions probably were not answered correctly to become a customer with our software. And we don't necessarily apologize for that because we've been very transparent through the process that this was something that was very new. We were going to learn a lot, but we also had some success early too with some folks that allowed us to understand and talk about it. But the first one is already converting paid marketing strategy. Again, this is somebody that has a marketing sales process, right? And Connie, I might have you chime in here because I know we talked about this a lot yesterday. But somebody that already has not an organic converting funnel, but a paid cold traffic converting funnel. right? They have the systems, the automations. They're not trying to learn how to automate follow-ups through the system. And again, that's not a put down to anybody that might have used our system, is currently using our system, or might use our system. It's just the fact that we want to be transparent and knowing that if that's something that you've struggled with, doesn't mean you can't use the system, but there's going to be a learning curve. And support tickets are going to be a little bit more for us with volume versus somebody that has already, done all of that. A monthly budget in place. I say 1,000 here, actually, with some things we're going to talk about here at the end of our presentation regarding a chance to possibly refer business. I put 2,000 because I believe that if somebody doesn't understand investing into their business, they're not already currently paying for cold paid traffic through whether it be meta ads or display ads or anything you can think of regarding marketing. If it's organic, if it's not paid, they got to have a budget in place that they're willing to understand they're going to put towards something to give it the runway that it needs. Not just I'm going to give it a day or two, 30 days. This is something just kind of like SEO that takes some time to optimize your strategy. They have systems in place. We kind of learned this, we talked about this, but systems in place to leverage that omnipresent marketing approach. I'm talking, again, we'll get through this, but not just cold email. You're talking about display ads, meta ads, also direct mail. We've actually launched Mailbox Power as an integration native right into our software. And then the last one, I'm missing one. Correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm missing something, Connie. What's the last one? I do 4 or 5. I can't remember. But you get the idea. Willing to commit.
You're good, yeah.
You're good. Longer term partnerships to ensure adequate time for longer strategy implementation. All this really means is your customers don't need to commit to a contract. We don't have a contract, but they need to commit to themselves, giving themselves long enough to get some traction. Just right out the gate, we can talk about this. This is not Google SEO keywords. This is not, Google AdWords. This is secondary search networks that we now have tools in place for you to be able to see how many contacts, targets, what kind of audience does that specific keyword, a 1, 2, or 3 keyword, what kind of volume does it have over the last 7 days? So you'll know in the next 7 days around about what that looks like. They have to understand that a long-term strategy is giving themselves enough time. I say 6+ months. If you can get somebody to understand the 12-month thing, again, it's not saying, hey, if you're not with us for 12 months, we don't want to be a customer, but it's the mindset of a marketing agency, a marketing expert that understands good things take time. If all the above are not in place, hey, be a mature business owner and know that they may not be a good client for you. Be willing to walk away. We've talked about that before. Sorry, again, I'm hitting the wrong button. If your prospect still wants to become a client, by all means, let them. Just be upfront with them. Be transparent, right? They may not have the success out of the gate. They're going to have to learn some things. They're going to have to hire an expert in certain areas to do certain things to make acquisition area work for them. Understanding the customer buying journey, right? John brought this up in not all markets, industries, leads, audiences, depending on what, niche or market and things that they're in, are going to react to these types of leads the same. We would have thought that water damage companies would have literally destroyed business and their competitors with this type of technology out of the gate. We learned that not every water damage company can't have success, but there's some that emergency, that urgency type lead. Even for instance, what's the personal injury, or like an attorney that you just got in a wreck and like, hey, I gotta get somebody quick. That may not, I'm not saying it won't, but it may not be the best fit for Acquisition Air. We're okay with that. We've learned that through our first year. Focus on building trust, right? You're talking about a technology that you're literally like, we named it Acquisition Air because you're sitting in the air traffic control tower of internet search volume through secondary search, which if you understand how search works, Google is a pinprick when it comes to search across the internet. They're 80% of search engines, and they're proud of that, and that's awesome. Google's awesome. But they're not 80% of search across the internet. So we need to focus on understanding secondary search. We need to understand the fact that there's a lot of search going on, and if you're not building that know, like, and trust factor with your prospects, your targets, your audience that you're building of people that are searching for or reading about certain topics through keyword phrases, that's how our system operates. If you're not building that trust, literally you're picking them out of the air and you're throwing them over here to this client of yours or this client of yours or your business in general. and you're coming out with like puke on them. It's a sales process from the beginning and it's like spam, right? So we're going to talk about why the omnipresent marketing strategy along that line is a good strategy to get into as well. If you have any questions, again, put those in the chat. I think we do have, looks like we have some questions, so we'll be busy in the end. So acquisition error, it's another arrow in the marketing quiver, right? This is not, you talk to your customer and say, hey man, listen, this is the only thing you're ever going to need. This is the best thing since sliced bread. It might be the best thing since sliced bread, but it's not the only marketing effort or marketing tool or arrow that somebody's going to use out of their quiver. This is complementary, right? This is allowing somebody to enhance their search efforts for the proper audience, for the proper target, for the proper lead, right? We build an audience, we understand our targets, and we identify who becomes a lead from that. And then also, it just builds synergy, right? When you're sitting down in front of a client, you're not talking about, hey, what you're doing right now, hey, that's stupid. What are you doing? You're doing that, Google AdWords is, it's Flintstones. No, it's not. It's still relevant. But mixed to maybe 50-50, maybe 25-25 and 25 and 25 of four different tools, now you have 25% of their business. That's okay, right? Have some synergy with other opportunities that they have on the table. And then I might actually kick this over to Connie, but I will say a few things. But properly onboarding your clients, I'm going to speak for the support team, for instance. One of the biggest things that we've seen in 24 is we have a white label solution. So you have the ability to use our software with your name, but using our support on the back end. That shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't have too many tickets after a few times that say, hey, my customers, this, and this. And all it was your inability to have that conversation when onboarding your client, right? All of our support site that you guys have access to, whether you're just a private plane or you're a full airliner, all the way through, you have access to our support site. That means you have access to be able to carbon copy and paste anything on our website. If something's not working, email us. We will get anything on that site and more to you that you need. I've had several people email me, actually just the other day, with some FAQ stuff that all I did was send over an FAQ. They tweaked it to their likings, and they're able to put that on their website, their support site, all that kind of stuff. So that is your responsibility, not ours, to have people prepared on how to use the software. Like I'll say the last one, help your client. Remember how it felt being a first-time customer and some of the malfunctions or pitfalls or misunderstandings that you may have had. Make sure they know that. So Connie, I know I hit a few points there, but if there's any, a couple more points you want to talk about, being that you're on the support team, you see the tickets, we see some things. We're literally not complaining. It's just, if we can help you, here's some things we saw through the lens of the reflections we're talking about, that if you were to properly onboard a little bit better or have some type of a process like we have with our onboarding call that somebody buys from us, then I think it would be better. So go ahead, Connie.
Yeah, I think that, I guess one thing I do want to clarify, because it might have come a little bit confusing. As a white label agency with us, you are responsible for your support to your clients, but you can send in support tickets regarding, if you're having issues with your clients, of course, come to us. So I just want to, and if you're a private plane and you're a client, then you're coming directly to us as far as because you're our client. Because there was a question and I just want to kind of clarify that. The other thing in just onboarding a lot of the agencies, I think that, and even with the private planes, it's about setting expectations with your clients. I think that's really important. So that is where, and also this is a little bit different as far as how we're going to set up your keywords and we're going to set up your campaigns, and also just the training that is within the support site that you can go to and learn from. I think that that's really important to, you can always come to us, but a lot of times we'll say, did you look at this video? Because a lot of times it's right there on the support site. But I would say a lot of times it's about setting expectations with the client so that they don't, expect something. And Brady had a really good point about, this is an investment in a marketing conversion campaign, system that is 6 months, 12 months. So yeah, I would say that was probably the biggest thing.
Thank you for clarifying that. Sometimes I probably mix up some things. So I appreciate you saying that because it is important to know that a white label is a white label. Like it's your baby. We're here for you. We can support you on the back end, but you're in charge of your client. So thanks for saying that. Daniel, I know you're on the call now. If you don't mind, I think there's a few tickets that I looked at in the tickets, or tickets. My goodness. See, we check a lot of tickets in the chat. If you don't mind answering those so everybody can see them, that way everybody hears the answer. There's a few in there that you might be able to answer instead of just waiting on the back end. And then we'll
Yeah,
get to you.
sure. So I just do it here. I could type it in or just answer.
If you don't
Either way is
mind
fine.
typing it, I'm going to get through this,
Okay,
and then if we can take some questions early, maybe we can. But if you can
I'll
answer them,
start typing.
cool. I'll let you know in a minute. Cool. So properly onboard your clients. Again, this is something that we've talked about. We've hinted towards. We've honestly had no idea that this would be used 5,000 ways than just maybe a cold email. In the omnipresent marketing strategy, I want you guys to sit here and think about this. When I get an email, like I love email for business, as in Connie emails me, Johnny's emails me, a client emails me. But when I get emails that are bombarded with just sales or this deal, that deal, again, I think it works because I'm sure I've ordered something and bought something through an email because it was relevant, just like our leads are relevant to what somebody is searching for. But let me give you a scenario that I think is way much better, way much. I'm publicly school educated. I'm a hick from Southern Ohio. Sorry. It's way better. The data that we deliver in more of an omnipresent market strategy, it gets in front of your customers in more than just one way. Think about this. You're on social media, you're checking your emails on your phone, right? So through social media, a display ad pops up. You're in a lookalike audience somehow because you qualified as an email through our software that somebody knows now what you're interested in, looking for, reading about. They're scrolling through reels or posts, and now they're staying in front of you. A company's staying in front of you that way. And now, even when you're sitting in front of your TV streaming Hulu or Roku or whatever streaming device you use, programmatic ad companies are now sending you display ads on your TV as you're sitting in the comfort of your home. And if you like this and this is relevant to your customer, I know a lot of like, I'll say blue collar, that's kind of where I grew up, but a lot of your construction and roofing and things, a lot of those folks still use direct mail. A lot of mortgage companies and real estate, they use direct mail. We have direct mail now. So you're at your mailbox. I know a lot of people say, well, I just rip it up. It must still work because there's a lot of people that still use it. So we've noticed from a lot of folks, not a lot, but several folks that are loving what they're got their hands on is they're using it multiple ways. They're not just trying to hit a home run with a cold email campaign. That's one piece of the puzzle. They're not just using display ads and cold email. They're using direct mail. They're using meta ads. They're using CTV ads. That's the omnipresent marketing strategy. And I know some people on this call and some people that we might talk or sit down with might not be using all of those. We'll get to this later as well, but we're working on that. We're working on finding some type of a partnership or some type of a liaison of somebody still that we can work for. And Joe Rickards, that was for you, because dude, I get it. There's people out there that would love to probably even pay money and have the budget to be able to maybe hire somebody or partner with somebody or whatever. And we're working on that. I can't say that it's done yet, but we're working on that. Let's see. All right, let's talk about 2025. That's kind of 2024. That's some things we learned. I'm sure there's oodles of things that we could probably talk about, but they weren't as high on the priority of knowing, hey, if I'm a customer of Acquisition Air currently, and I'm going to use this as a private plane for my business or my businesses, as well as I'm an agency, and I'm going to go resell this to other people. That's the things that we've seen. And I want to go back through that. One, again, know who Acquisition Air is for. Be willing to walk away. Doesn't mean throw business away or just, be so pushy that you don't have any customers. Just know that there's a certain market you're looking for, and there's a huge market out there for it. Make sure they have a budget. Make sure that you properly onboard them. And then make sure they have several of the omnipresent, the 5 different strategies that they're currently using. If not all of them, they're using currently, and they're actually getting conversions, right? That might limit some of your clients. You might have to think outside the box, but I will promise you, if you think outside the box and you go find those customers you and those clients are going to be a lot more happy, and we will as well because our support tickets will go down and everybody will be making money and it'll be good. So let's talk about 2025. Connie, John, did I miss anything? I know you had some examples yesterday, John, of kind of making that real for people, like the water damage thing. Is there anything else that I missed that you guys want to throw in regarding 2024 before we flip the script?
No, I think that was good. You hit a lot of the key points there. And emergency stuff is kind of what I came to the conclusion doesn't really fit this bill very well. Because if you think about that, like a 24/7 emergency plumber, they're not looking for the email 10, 20, 30 minutes later. They need to talk to somebody right now. So we found that that really wasn't a good target. Originally, we thought that was going to be a great target because, we took the attitude of, oh, well, we're going to be able to send them an email right now. Well, they're not looking for an email, they're looking to solve the problem right now. They're not hunting through their email. So, we learned a lot, just like what Brady said. We learned a lot about the process, a lot about just the marketing in general. I've come from an SEO background where, my job was to drive traffic and let people figure out what to do with it. And then here, where it's the same thing, we are still driving traffic with a very different type of format. But for some reason, everyone is now looking at us to supply the what do we do with the traffic? So we're looking at this from the point of supplying you the leads, just like I always did in SEO, not supplying you the marketing, not supplying you an end-to-end solution. We're looking for agencies and things that are doing that already, and this gives them another arrow in the quiver, as Brady called it. So this is it's a great add-on. But I think just like with SEO in the very beginning, people were thinking it was a magic bullet. And in some ways, SEO was kind of a magic bullet in the beginning when there was no competition. But where we are currently in 2024, 2025, moving forward, you've got a massive amount of competitors in the online arena that are all marketing and jockeying for position to take your customers. You have a certain amount of customers out there if you're willing to serve them, but you also have a lot of people out there ready to take them from you. So I think that's important, from a standpoint of if you're going to be in this business to serve other businesses, you need to be prepared to do that. Or if you want to just step back and be a supplier, like I've always been in the past of SEO services, you need to find the right customer that is doing that already. And then you become a vendor of them, a very valued vendor, by the way. They value vendors that can bring them traffic that they know what to do with. And I've kind of said this since day one. You need to hunt the person that knows how to do cold email, because that's what this is. These are cold email leads. So if you can find the agencies or the people that are doing that, and they're going to fall into that qualification like Brady was talking about. When you say, you got to be doing, at least $1,000 or $2,000 worth of paid traffic, they're going to laugh. They're going to go, well, we do that like every hour. Not every day, every hour. And another thing that I said from day one was find the guys. Don't try and find the guys that nothing has ever worked for. Don't find the guy that spent $1,000 on Facebook and it didn't work. And then he spent $1,000 on pay-per-click and it didn't work. That's the guy that's just looking for someone to blame for why his life is in a shambles. And that kind of fits the profile of the small business owner. You got to get out of that. If you're going to work in the traffic, and, ladies, close your ears. Traffic is a big ball player game. They are swinging dicks and they're swinging for the stars. And I apologize for the language, but that is what you're dealing with. If you go in there and talk about $1,000 or $2,000 ad spend, they're looking at 30, 40, $50,000 ad spends, and they know what to do with it. That's who you need to find. That's who you should be hunting for, not the local plumber. Not the guy that's his total annual income is 80 grand and half of that goes to his overhead and he's taking home 40 grand. So you come in and you tell him he's going to spend $1,000 a month on ads. That's going to take food off his table. And guess what? When you're taking that money from him, he's going to be looking at you at every penny he gives you. He's going to be looking for a dime to come back, which may be unrealistic. So don't find the people that don't know how to make this work. Find the ones that are going on Facebook spending 30 grand a month. And the only reason they're spending 30 and not 35 is they're buying all the inventory. That's the guy you want to find. He'll buy all the leads you can give him. And again, I've said this in SEO for at least 2 decades. At least 2 decades, I led resellers into that world and, tried to forge the weeds for them. And I said the same thing over and over and over. I said, your ideal customer is a manufacturer between $2 and $10 million. That's the easiest guy to work with. That's the guy that's going to appreciate you the most, give you the most money, cause you the least grief. They're an absolute pleasure to deal with. And how many people followed that instruction? There was a handful, and they made a shitload of money. Absolute shitload of money over the last 2 decades. Everyone else struggled, everyone else complained, and this is kind of following the same pattern. I came right in day one and told you who to look for, who the ideal customer was. And most people went everywhere but there. And we've had a lot of people, a lot of complaints about, hey, this isn't working. Well, no shit. Because you didn't follow what I told you to do. And, this might be some tough love, but if you want success, you got to go where success lives. It doesn't live in the dark corners. It shines. If you want to do better, you gotta be better. If you want more, you got to do more. And really, it comes down to modeling success. If you look at what people are doing that are successful, that's all you have to do is model it. They're not looking for the smallest customers to create problems. They're looking for the profit. What do I teach in the ACT program? Find the most profitable segment of any given market and start there. And most people start at the opposite end. And I'll tell you why. Here's what I've boiled down to over the last decade. It's confidence. They don't have the confidence to do what they know they need to do. So they settle. They start picking up crumbs. And at the end of the day, they're carrying a bag of crumbs. Because it's just simply because they don't have the confidence. You don't need the confidence. We're going to give it to you. We're all here for you. You can basically stand on our shoulders and ride into 2025 standing on our shoulders. Just follow Brady. He's telling you what you need to do. He's telling you what you need to hear. Don't ignore it. When Connie shows you how to do stuff, don't ignore her. She's giving you the benefit of all the people she's worked with in the past. So there's a lot of knowledge base at your fingertips here. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but don't go against the wheel. So, Brady, does that kind of sum it up? Right.
You did well.
All right. I
That was
know you
cool.
didn't I know you didn't want to have that conversation, but it needed to be had.
Well, you're the best for it. The tough love. It's all good.
I've been getting
Here's,
better at it. I've,
here's the
I've
thing too.
always
We've had some tough love conversations too, John. Not just myself and you, just about the software of like, hey, here's what we thought it was, and here's where it is, and hey, wow, this is what it can actually do, and we had no idea. So,
yeah.
you hadn't it. Well, Daniel, I'm going to let you shine a little bit. There's a few bullet points here that I can talk about also, but you're the man behind the screen. And if it wasn't for you and the team, this would surely not go off with anything close to a hitch. There's some good things coming down the pipeline. And also, Daniel, I know that there's a few success stories revolving one reverse mortgage. I don't know if you want to hit on, you might know this one a little bit better as far as a pizza company. Honestly, it goes against kind of what John just talked about regarding kind of the emergency. And I know pizza places are not emergency, but when you need pizza, you need pizza, right? And I know that
When
you
you got
know
the hangries.
a good, yeah, you got the hangers. You have a success story you can kind of share there. And I'll try to get these out. They're just fairly newer to us. If you want to talk about that, but I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about this.
just so you know, pizza is quite different than emergency. Pizza is a top of mind recurring thing that keeps coming. You don't constantly think about your toilet overflowing, but
That's
Right.
true. See?
So yeah, I I know of an agency that has a pizza franchise, and that went really well. So they don't own the franchise; they have the franchise as a client, and so they have several dozen locations, and so that enabled immediate scaling. And the franchise manages some of the automated communications campaigns. So we know that the an individual pizza shop probably doesn't have the volume to make this successful, and the wisdom of the marketing team to make it successful. But a franchise, on the other hand, is working great. So yeah, so they have I don't know all the keywords that they're targeting. I'd have to look again, but um, a lot of different keywords about
Some
food
of them are
delivery.
like Papa John's or Pizza
Yeah,
Hut.
yeah, 100%. They are, and this is a boutique pizza shop. They're hitting their competitor conquesting, and as well as Uber Eats and some things like that. And yeah, they send out email strategy or email coupons and things like that, and they're loving life. Another one. This was not a pizza one, but it's a great example of the cost savings of the data. I just heard this one last week. So Brady, you might not have heard this one. Another agency called and we're super excited. Like this paid for the entire year plus. They're super excited. So the client they were working with was very highly geolocated, and they had a specific niche of the country, a certain set of cities that they focused on, and they called asking why their site ID was identifying all these people across the nation. They said, "This is garbage. Your data is garbage. This is blah blah blah." They were not happy, so we dug into the data with them, and all this out of geo had this G-click ID equals that. If you know what you're looking at, that means it was a Google ad. One of their admins that they fired set a $1,000 a month Google campaign on play. It had been running for several months, that was blasting them with everything except for local traffic. And so getting that turned off saved them tens of thousands of dollars, just by identifying the site traffic, understanding what they're looking at, and they were overjoyed as soon as they understood what they just did. So that was a really good example of using data non-traditionally. But I've heard those over and over of understanding the geography of the site behavior, um, cleaning up a lot of pay-per-click campaigns, display ad campaigns, social campaigns, understanding that if you're hiring a subcontractor to do those, keeping them accountable. A lot of value, and that was one that just came in. I don't know if Brady, if you heard that or not, but that was a super excited client, so that was fun. What else did you say, Brady?
Oh, can you see the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
B2B. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Um,
People want to know when this is coming. We've been talking about it for months, and I know
yeah,
Yeah.
For me, it was coming about 5 weeks ago. So it's as soon as we can get it rolled out. We are having a couple of struggles with the data, integrating it correctly, proofing it, and making sure that it's accurate. We don't want to release something out of the dev team that's going to cause any glitches. So we are verifying everything. We're triple checking everything. Um, we will have B2B data very, very soon, and we'll have enhanced data points, and that will be very, very soon also. I thought it was going to be last week, and then we hit one more hitch. So um, it could be like 3 days from now, very, very soon. So it probably won't be 3 days from now, but that's how close it is. We're waiting on one key piece on enhanced. We're actually going to roll out enhanced first, B2B after that. And because B2B is going to require a strategic rollout with you as the agency. Also, make sure you go in and set your upcharge pricing on the B2B data. And that is something that that'll be a well communicated rollout to make sure that there will be an upcharge off of the wholesale to retail opportunity for you. So you need to make sure to go in and do that. It is more expensive data, so that will be, it will have there'll be an entire pricing schedule involved with that you have to change in your settings. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And then if you want to hit on the keyword search estimator tool, I know that's rolled out. I've seen
Yes.
testing thing, but
We're seeing some really cool data coming in off of this. One of my favorite ones had an agency reply back, "Hey, what are you talking about? This is garbage data. I put in lead generation, and it said only 1,000 people searched that in the past 7 days. This is not right." Huh, that's weird. I tried it. Like, you're right. Crap. What's going on? And so, well, let's do some modifications. Lead gen. It was like 30,000. All right, 30 some odd thousand. So 30x volume by being lazy like the customer. So we have to be very intelligent with our data. We're doing some real estate keywords, doing the same. Real estate agent is 10,000, and then but sell house was only 1,100, buy house was another 1,200, and a better strategy was to use a lot of the minor keywords. So, combine 10 of the minor keywords instead of just go after real estate because it was too generic. Even though the volume was there, they built up enough volume from the minor keywords that were still within the ballpark that they got the volume that they needed. So, yeah, use that tool. We recommend when you're going to sell a new industry or a new client, use the tool. Go in and throw in 500 characters for the keywords and run it. See what comes back. Modify it. Use ChatGPT. Get suggestions, and know the data. And so you can present to them, say, "Hey, we have nationally, 30,000 people in the past 7 days could have been identified and put into your marketing strategy. Let's play ball." So I've heard of some people experimenting using it to understand how to SEO their sites. If you want to experiment with that, give us feedback. It was not built for that, no promises, but that's an interesting theory. So yeah, and what else?
anything else in the tech bucket that you can reveal or tell us that's coming or
Not yet. We do have cool stuff coming, but not yet. I don't want to. I don't want to do the classic enhanced data. Here it is, and then 2 months later, it's not here yet. So,
well, we've
um,
kind of done that with the B2B and enhance.
yeah. Well, that's enough. That's enough hanging in the breeze for now.
All right, cool. Well, again, if there's any questions, Daniel, you can answer in the chat while we're doing this. We're almost done here with kind of the 2025 stuff, and then we can kick it off with some questions. I may actually just send this reveal deck, pitch deck, whatever, out as a broadcast if people want to use it, or anybody that emails me. That might even be better. Then I know they actually are going to use it versus just wasting my time if nobody wants it. Maybe everybody already has one. But if you're needing marketing help, I hit on this a little bit. Again, we don't have anything in play yet, but we might. If you say, Brady, this omnipresent thing over my head, I don't have a clue in the world. I don't even want to, begin there, but I know that people don't always check their emails, or they just hit spam, and they always open their Facebook message, or they always click on this ad, or they're always sitting in front of their TV streaming. There's multiple things that they could be doing that I don't have an idea of how to reach them. Well, we might, fingers crossed, have a solution for that. We will see what that meeting turns out being. Myself and John and Daniel are actually hopping on a meeting this week. So next is, this is not official yet, but it's coming soon. We will have more details coming out, but I might even let Connie loose on this to reel in who we're looking for and who we actually are willing to sit down in front of. I actually typed something out and sent it to Connie, so I'm waiting on Connie's blessing on it to know that it's, good to go. But we are now in a position, knowing what we have our hands on, and willing to let existing customers, or maybe you're on a call and you're going to see this as well as a recording, and you're a customer of John's on another product, and you just want to refer business and you want to increase revenue by being a referral and making some money on leads generated. We're and now have the ability, I should say, to do that. So that's coming soon. That's going to be a very strenuous process. And what I mean by that is, just like we talked about vetting or qualifying clients, if you send us somebody, we are going to be qualifying, because we want to make sure that our time is used correctly, and not just anybody that that needs leads or an audience to send, emails or display ads to. We want to make sure that these folks meet those 4 or 5 different criterias that we talked about earlier. So that is coming. If you want to jump the gun and say, hey, I've been waiting on that for a year, send me an email, Brady Internet Dominators or Connie at Internet Dominators. Let us know you're interested. Maybe we can have a conversation about it, let you know kind of what we're thinking when we're going to launch. But that will be a process that they're going to have to book a calendar or a Calendly link with myself and Connie to set that up and talk about it. Prepaid billing. This doesn't really, oh crap. This doesn't really, this is not for everybody, because if you're 3 months or less, you don't know any different. But we do have some folks that have been with us for a while that actually had the opportunity to come in as weekly billing and pay for the leads as they go versus pay for them up front. We changed that months ago. So those that are still have a handful of clients that are on that weekly type billing that's not prepaid, we are done with that February 15th. So you have about a little over 30 days to have that conversation with your clients. Again, it's not anything, towards people that are using it. I've had some delays and some missed payments and things that we want to move forward and be on the same page. And honestly, it's going to help the tech team too, not really confuse things. So we are going all prepaid all across the board with Acquisition Air. There will be no grandfathering with a few handful of clients that have been with us for a while. And I think we've given you enough time and prepared for that over the last 6 months. We've been saying that. So that shouldn't be too much of a first announcement for you. So last but not least, if you're somebody that's a new user, here's some recommendations. Everything that we said, and make sure you fit those 4 or 5 different categories. If you don't, hey, get back to us. Maybe this isn't for you. We'll get you your 30 days back. We'll get you your setup fee or whatever you paid. It's not a big deal. We'd rather that than have a bad relationship. But work with a skilled team that understands the platform's potential, right? If you're not in the omnipresent world, hire somebody. Or if we can find somebody for you, we'll let you know. Making sure that you have those funnels in place and automations and things in place to use an advanced software like this. And then the nurturing process, understanding the long term with this product, just like any other marketing strategy that you've used that had a long-term effect, that it builds over time and you can optimize it over time. This is no different. Our software is not in respect of a person, if you will. So it will be the same with ours as well. So with that, that's it for 2025 as far as new things coming, recommendations. Again, 2024, what we learned. If you have any questions, I think we have some people in the chat, but let's just actually do that. And Connie, if I missed anything, go ahead and come off mute and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing unless you want me to point to a slide somewhere.
No, I think you're good.
Cool.
And then we do have some questions.
Yeah, if we didn't bore everybody too much, there should be some people on here. Maybe we still have some questions. I'm going to change my view because I like to see people. I know as a speaker sometimes it's like Where's everybody at? Everybody's off video. There we go. Emerson, he's even driving, man, and he's got his video on. I like it. Just don't get too close to your nose. We don't want to see up there too much. All right. Questions in the chat. I haven't looked at the chat at all since I've been presenting, so we may have to go way back. Connie, if you can help me with
Yeah,
that.
so I'm looking here, A Woods. First question is, need to know more about a white labeling and group training possibilities. So he might want to come
Yeah.
on and just kind of give maybe a little more details on that.
Mr. Woods, can you come off mute? And anybody that maybe has a question in the chat, just so we don't miss it, can you go ahead and raise your hand? That way we can kind of go through them. I know Daniel has to hop off here, and I think just a couple minutes. So if there's any technical questions, maybe we can breeze through that or whatever. But go ahead and come off mute, Mr. Woods.
Yeah, I was want to know from a training perspective because what I deal with is like impoverished situations. So I'm trying to get training going like consistent on a consistent basis. It's kind of like a scouting type tool, if you will. I could tell you more about it, but
Are you saying that you're doing something within like a scouting tool for your business, or you're wanting to like refer clients to us and have a training, like ongoing training for that? I guess I'm a little lost.
yes. So as a see, I need to probably talk to you in private because it would be as a nonprofit, the angle that I'm trying
Send
to build this.
Mr. Woods, send me just for the sake of other questions, send me an email, Brady at Internet Dominators, and I'll send you a Calendly link back that we can hop on a call real quick and maybe dive in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Mr. Rickards, good to see you.
Hey, Brady. Good to see you too. Thanks. Yeah, I was just asking in chat. I've been patiently waiting for the men versus women. If the tech guy could give me because I get half women, which it just goes in the garbage. I mean, because that's not my clients, right? So I'm itching on that one.
So
That's gonna
we will document that. We currently don't have it built so that you can select between men versus women, but it will be in the data, male versus female, of which one it is.
That don't help me at all. Because I'm getting 50% of my data that just goes in the garbage. Right? That's actually worse because the ladies, when I email them, they're not happy to receive that email, right? It's about matchmaking for men and all that lingo that goes with it. And so I thought that was in the works when I've been asking
Daniel,
over the last year.
Is that something somebody can take care of through some type of an API of like saying if this, then this?
In the future, that is part of our strategy, is to be able to select, select greater demographics of the target person. We don't have that yet. Step one of enhanced is to include the enhanced data. And then sorting from there, sub-filtering, that is absolutely part of the long-term plan.
Okay. So all due respect, I mean, I've just been waiting a year. When you say the future, what can some time frame of future? I'm not sure I can wait another year.
Right. I hate giving
Hey
hard
Brady,
timelines.
Can I piggyback off of Colton there? I that might be a workflow solution, and that was one of the other questions that's down below. We could go ahead and address it now. And the next question was asking, which companies would you even recommend to? Because some of the apps flow together, and they would be more productive if, depending on what your niche or what you're going for, if you could create a workflow for them to, flow together on automation. So that might be a solution. I'm not sure.
Send let's do that. Send me an invite and we'll cover this off of this call. That way some others can answer. That's more specific to you guys. And I know the workflow is not necessarily specific to just you guys, but that's something that Daniel might have to hop on as well and us work together on that. Cool. Bob, I think I don't know anybody else raised their hand, but I'm just kind of starting from some other questions. Bob, you had a question about the leads you're receiving, whether they have the IP address. If somebody asked me, we obtain their information. Daniel, do you answer some of these? I haven't looked at the chat at all. So
Yes, yes. And then for the coaching gentleman, I don't have your name here saved, but our goal is probably the first third of this current year is to have more of these tools implemented. I can't give hard deadlines on that part. But I answered some of those previous ones. As long as you're CAN spam compliant with clear and working unsubscribe, there's not a whole lot. There is no opt-in required for emailing people or for putting them on your marketing list. So that's no problem at all. The second, phone numbers, that's bonus data. It has no warranty or guarantee whatsoever. And when your clients activate that, there's a pop-up. We log that pop-up specifically because of the new regulations. We log that in the servers if there's ever a complaint, where we specifically tell your clients there is not a warranty or guarantee with this data. We do have success from people. There are some call tools type softwares where they can import it in, cleanse it, scrub it. We don't officially advise on any of that because there's a lot more teeth behind that lately. And then importing them into your CRM, there are some CRMs that are tied to websites that they'll recognize that client's visit based upon an email campaign, things like that. And it will prompt them to put their phone number in to continue to the website. And in doing so, then they will have explicit documented permission on their side, which is really what the new law requires. An individual, even if our data systems got that permission, it'd be very difficult to pass that forward legally. So really with the new laws. So really your client needs to get that specific permission to text or robocall and all that good stuff.
hey, Daniel, I know probably a minute past the time you said you're going to have to hop off, but just last question for you. Some people are asking like detailed of enhanced data, and I know you may not have everything laid out and specific, but it'd be helpful. They're saying kind of like a mindset of how are we doing that so they can kind of line up with what they're going to have access to. If that makes sense.
It does, yeah. So I don't want to claim something that we're still working through. Let me see if I can get just a minute here. Give me 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Anybody got a good joke? Mary, you got a good joke?
None you'd want to hear.
I thought you logged off, John. Where'd you go? I didn't see you.
I'm still here.
That's funny. I will just broadcast that out. If some people want to hang on, I have till about quarter after that I can roll through that fairly quickly, and then based off of what you see, you can judge whether it's good or bad and whether you'd like it or not. Because I know that if I just send it out, most people are just going to breeze over it and think it's just another email. So if anybody wants to hang around, we can do that, and I'll wait on Daniel to answer that last
All
question.
right. So I'm just going to, this is alphabetized and not every single one of these are going to be in there, but I can just start reading for a couple seconds and we'll go from there. So I'll say up to 3 emails, up to 3 phone numbers, mobile phones. So then we have, and these can be yes, no, if they have affinities for these. Aerobics, Amex card use, antiques, apparel, accessories, different apparel categories, arts and crafts, auto racing, bank card usage, baseball, basketball, Bible, birds, beauty, boating, books, camping cars, cat owners, child in-house aged 0 to 3, 4 to 6, 7, 9, 10, 12, cigars, coins, it just keeps going on. If that household is affiliated with those things, then go down to household specific, home price, home value, and length of residence, married status, men's apparel, men's fashion, affinity, NASCAR, number of children, number of credit lines, credit. There is some credit ranking. We can't give credit score, can't pull someone's credit score without their explicit intent, but we can rank them, A, B, C, D.
That's good.
Then household, yeah. County code, consumer, fireplace in house, first, things like that. Car, garage, number of garage. So we have some detailed household information, loan value, loan date, loan to value ratio, market value estimate, mortgage 1, 2, and 3, tax billing address, tax mailing address, if it's so you'll be able to compare if that's different than their home address, which you can focus on out of state or out of town investors, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of reading down through a random selection of this, but it's a lot of data.
I know a couple of very serious marketers are going to get down on a knee in front of you and propose, Daniel.
So there you go.
We'll leave that for another conversation.
Joe, you got another question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, are we going to be able to search based on, hey, if the home value is X, I want this lead. If it's X or above, I want this lead. If it's not, I don't. Like, are we going to be able to grab leads?
That is in the long-term plan. Yes, not initially. Initially, there's a bunch of steps in here to make sure that we're getting high quality, accurate data and our servers don't catch on fire. So right now the limitation is, up to 500 characters with keywords, the zip code number restrictions. We do want that ability as soon as possible to begin subgrouping this. The more granular we get, the more expensive it will get, just because it takes so much server run. So we have to take these, and after we get feedback from you all on what is valuable, then start getting some of this information put into selectable data options based upon what is actually valuable and usable. But yeah, that's it. That's in our plan. It's not phase 1, but we also need feedback of, we probably don't need bird watching affinity as a category that's searching, right? So, but we need feedback of what out of all this it needs to be sortable.
Cool.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, I got to jump, but those are great questions.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate the time, man. Appreciate what you guys do. I know it's not always easy giving people somewhat deadlines, because you don't like to be held to a deadline, because technology is finicky sometimes. So appreciate it. Hopefully it'll be before 2026 though. That's all I'll say. Just giving you a hard time.
All right, good one. I gotta go.
See you. Cool. Well, if nobody has any other questions, feel free to hop off. Again, I do have about